Hi guys, it's me, Grandpa Gundy, back again. I'm going to try to read you a few stories just to get us in the mood for the season because winter is coming. So I'm going to start out with Annie and the Wild Animals by Jan Brent. I want to dedicate this book to Miss Jolink because this is one of her favorite authors. So it starts out. It had been snowing for days. Winter was lasting too long. Something was wrong with Annie's cat. Taffy had stopped playing. She ate more than usual. She slept all day long. Annie found her curled up in strange places. One morning, Annie could not find Taffy anywhere. She looked and looked, but Taffy was gone. Annie was very lonely. I need a new friend, thought Annie. So she placed a corn cake at the edge of the wood. She imagined that a small furry animal would come and she would tame him for a pet. The next morning, the corn cake was gone. In its place stood a giant moose. Oh, he's too big to tame, thought Annie. I'll have to try again. That night, Annie left another corn cake at the edge of the wood. The next morning, the moose was back, and a snarling wildcat was there too. Ah, he's too mean to tame, thought Annie. So Annie placed some more corn cakes at the edge of the wood. The next morning, a big growling bear was there with the moose and the wildcat. Oh, he's too grumpy for a pet, thought Annie. Annie made as many corn cakes as she could, and she left them at the edge of the wood. At dawn, Annie heard the snarls and growls of the wild animals. There was the moose and the wildcat and the bear. They had been joined by a stag, his family, and a large gray wolf. Not one of them is soft and friendly like Taffy, thought Annie. All the next day, Annie made corn cakes and left them at the edge of the wood. All night long, she heard the sounds of the wild animals eating the corn cakes. Annie awoke to find a great nose stuck through her window. It belonged to the moose, who was still hungry. Yikes. There were wild animals everywhere. They roared for their next meal, and the little house shook. The animals wanted more corn cakes, but when Annie looked into the barrel of cornmeal, oh, it was empty. She couldn't make any more corn cakes. Annie was very sad. She would never find a pet now, and she missed Taffy very much. All that night a warm breeze blew from the south. The snow melted and new buds could be seen on the plants and trees. The wood was coming alive again. By the next morning, the wild animals had gone back to the woods. They would find food there now that spring had finally come. Then, as unexpected as the warm spring breeze, Taffy walked proudly into the yard. "Taffy!" Annie exclaimed. "You have come home! Oh, where have you been?" Taffy turned and looked back the way that she had come. Out of the wood came 3 soft and friendly kittens. Annie would not be lonely anymore. I like the ending of that story. All right, now I'm going to do another one. It's called Snowzilla. Yikes. This is by Janet Lawler, illustrated by Amanda Haley. It snowed without stopping for week after week, and when it ended at last, Cammy Lou took a peek. Boy, I hope we don't get a winter like that. Yikes. She bundled and booted and zipped up her brother. Let's build a huge snowman, unlike any other. They packed a large snowball and pushed it around. Then Mom plowed the yard, dumping snow in a mound. They rolled out a middle as plump as a pig, placed a head on the top with the help of Dad's rig. They scavenged for buttons, a hat, and big eyes, for a nose and a mouth, and for arms the right size. Then Cammy Lou cheered as she stood down below. We'll call you Snowzilla, our giant of snow. Thousands of people rode buses to see the towering snowman as tall as a tree. But neighbors complained and a few acted wild. They organized quickly and lawsuits were filed. Got signs here. Melt the snowman. No snowman. Snowman. No man. No Snowzilla. Whoa. Poochie is scared to go out the front door. Another said views were much better before. And a lady warned everyone, make no mistake, when temperatures rise, he'll turn into a lake. A judge ruled Snowzilla will have to come down. He's too big a threat for the peace in our town. Oh no. So Cammy used email and texting and blogging to save all their efforts sent packing and slogging. She contacted cousins and friends that she knew. Snowzilla's in danger. Help! What can we do? What's that say? Urgent help! Save our Snowzilla. Oh, my Cammy Lou. Whoa! At dawn the next day, a man backed up his truck and measured Snowzilla. I think we're in luck. People brought lumber and scaffolding too, hot chocolate and muffins as snacks for the crew. Then Cammy, her brothers, and other kind folks all labored together and told snowman jokes. They hoisted Snowzilla up just a few inches by using a forklift and pulleys and winches. Parading down Main Street, they stopped near the square. Cammy Lou pointed, please set him down there. The community garden was wide open space. He'd belong to them all in this perfect new place. Oh, pages stuck together here just a moment. I'll be doggone. Huh. Well, weeks. Oh, it's got to go. There it goes. Weeks later, the sun became hotter and bright. Snowzilla grew smaller and flowed out of sight. Cammy Lou waved, hardly shedding a tear. Because she had much bigger plans for next year. Oh, look. Oh, wow. She's going to have a whole family next time. Good for her. Oh, the Snowzillas. Yeah. Okay, I found a good one here. I think you guys will like it. I always like these. There was a cold lady who swallowed some snow. This lady swallows a lot of stuff. Wow. So there was a cold lady who swallowed some snow. There was a cold lady who swallowed some snow. I don't know why she swallowed some snow. Perhaps you know. Slurp, slurp. Yikes. There was a cold lady who swallowed a pipe. It wasn't the type to gulp down a pipe. She goes gobble, gobble. Oh, no. She swallowed the pipe to warm her 10 toes that tickled and tingled from layers of snow. I don't know why she swallowed some snow. Perhaps you know. There was a cold lady who swallowed some coal. What was her goal when she gobbled the coal? She swallowed the coal to keep her pipes glow. She swallowed the pipe to warm her 10 toes that tickled and tingled from layers of snow. I don't know why she swallowed some snow. Perhaps you know. There was a cold lady who swallowed a hat. Imagine that, a black-brimmed hat. She swallowed the hat before she froze. She swallowed the coal to keep her pipes glow. She swallowed the pipe to warm her 10 toes that tickled and tingled from layers of snow. I don't know why she swallowed some snow. Perhaps you know. There was a cold lady who swallowed a stick, a long brown branch. What a pick! She swallowed a stick to push down the snow. She swallowed the hat before she froze. She swallowed the coal to keep her pipes glow. She swallowed the pipe to warm her 10 toes that tickled and tingled from layers of snow. I don't know why she swallowed some snow. Perhaps you know. There was a cold lady who swallowed a scarf, a long striped scarf. She tried not to barf. She swallowed the scarf because it was so cold. She swallowed the stick to push down the snow. She swallowed the hat before she froze. She swallowed the coal to keep her pipes glow. And she swallowed the pipe to warm her 10 toes that tickled and tingled from layers of snow. I don't know why she swallowed some snow. Perhaps you know. Now, this cold lady had quite enough, so she thought and thought, and she thought and came up with a plan. She hiccuped twice, and out popped a snowman. I don't know, guys. I think there's an easier way to make a snowman than all of that. So I've got one more I'm going to throw in here. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is one of my favorite reads by Dr. Seuss, one of the best writers ever. So, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, and they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. And the Who, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With his coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. And the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, get up, and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All of their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down a chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. Those stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney, and he stuck the tree up. The last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. "Pooh-pooh to the Who's," he was grinchiously humming. "They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, and then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch-sized feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Well, there you go, guys. I'm out of time. I might have went over a little bit of time. So have a great holidays. We'll soon be back in school. I know we will. We're going to get through this, and we're going to have a better year next year because they got the vaccine coming. Everything's going to get back to pretty much normal real soon. You can count on that. So until it does, adios, amigos. We'll see you later. Don't forget, wash those hands, wear a mask, and stay 6 feet away. Adios. See you soon.